Another one that we did was, or like I think little touch points that people can do, right? If you can't go all out, right? A big part of like right now, we did this a couple times last year, was take the logo of the company and make it like a focal art piece in the booth, right?
Yeah,
And
that's a
you
good
can do
idea.
it, extreme, you can do it a little bit simpler, but just really having like your branding, and it was just like in people's face, it was larger than life, right? And then they take them and they can put it in their office after if they want to, right?
Yeah.
So get dual use out of it, but making it like a focal piece, a statement piece to make you like double take and look at it is another way that you can stand out, right? Even just we did a medical device company and we had surgeons competing and assembling like an implant on a prosthetic foot, right? And then there was a leaderboard, right? And then that was like the engaging part of their
Yeah.
booth. But
Yep.
then they had, demo station. So they were drizzling in a little bit of fun with their booth.
Yeah.
We also worked with Warner Brothers this past year, and they were going to like a recruiting show. And so basically they wanted to just really have like focal of Warner, and they had a ton of different ideas. They had Barbie coming out, right? They have so many shows like HBO. They're just
Yep.
there's so much that they can do. And so we actually took it back to basics with them, and we're like, let's just make it look like the Warner Bros. Studio that resembles in California for you guys.
Yeah.
And so
Because
did
everyone
like
knows what that looks like. It's very,
exactly.
yep.
Right. And so, the water tower, right? Their shield, those are just
Yeah.
statement pieces for them. And so we did a big water tower in their side of their booth. We did a shield that, stood off from the wall. So it could be a photo op. And then we did like palm trees, fake palm trees that stood out, right? So it was not over the top, but it was simple and it was made sense with the brand, but it was still cool because it was different.
Very Hollywood in that
Yeah.
sense, and that's what they are, right? So, like, I
Yes.
think a few things that you touched on there that I think are important for people to grasp onto is one, this idea of taking your logo or something visual and making it kind of like art deco, visually stimulating is always a hit on the show floor. People want to know, what is it made from? What is it for? Oh, that's your logo. Oh, look at that. Like, you have to catch somebody's senses. One, smell, sight, right? Sound. I mean, you got to catch people out there. So if it's something visual like that, great. The other thing I think you hit on there, Molly, with the Warner Brothers Discovery piece is like, be you, be your brand. Like, what is your brand? What does it stand for? I mean, that's a big name, right? So a lot of people know, but like, what are you? Right? What's your vibe? What's your aura? What's your pace? What's like, what are you? You have to be able to sit down and understand that. Because I've often made the joke, and I think this is true, where people for years would come to us and we'd be talking to them through design about their booth and like, oh, I want the Apple look. And I'm
Yeah.
like, the Apple, like, you're not Apple. Like, newsflash. I don't know if you know that or not, but you're not. But to their defense, they're just trying to give me an example of maybe what they want to look like. But that conversation had to shift and say, no, 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 no. Who are you as a brand? What do you stand for? What are you known for? What do you believe in? What's resembling for people for it? And then you can build and work kind of from there when you're designing something, especially if it's a big brand. I mean, it's always way easier than in kind of like a non-household name.
Right, I agree. Also, to a different project that we worked on, we talk about Publix, how we work with Publix often, and they were actually going to an event outside, and it was called Deck the Chairs. And so basically, this event is that they give different brands a lifeguard chair, and then they can pretty much do whatever they want with the lifeguard chair to
Yeah.
create it to make it represent to their brand, right? There was like a school that did it that was inside of the city that it was in, and they made like a little house and they put the lifeguard chair inside of it, right? So people do a lot of different things. So Publix came to us and they're like, okay, what can we do? We have this lifeguard chair. How can we come up with a couple different concepts? What do we do? We went kind of back and forth. We worked with their creative team. And then eventually we came to the conclusion to flip it on its back and then create a
Yeah.
shopping cart out of it, right? So you talk about like, go back to like who you guys are, right? Like you're not
Yeah.
Apple. So Publix is a grocery store. So how
Yeah.
can we represent it? And it was during Christmas time. And so we made a Christmas themed shopping cart for them. And it lived outside, had a bunch of lights,
Yeah.
reefs, but it just generally looked like a shopping cart. And it was just so true to who they are and their brand.
Yeah. That's a good example.